Hi everyone, and welcome to BillyFitzgeraldGolf. And today I want to talk about balance throughout the swing and understanding it, and understanding how when we do certain moves, things have to counterbalance each other. So if I'm just standing straight up and down, I feel very imbalanced. My head, my shoulders, my hips, my legs, my feet, they're all pretty much in one line. So I don't feel like I'm going to fall over, but I feel, again, my toes are on the ground and not grabbing. Same with my heels, so everything feels very flat, if you will. So we want to take that not only to your setup, but into your golf swing. So again, when you set up, I know that the ball is obviously not on our body line, so we have to bend from our hips to get over to it. But if I just did that without pulling my hip sockets back, then I would be up on my toes. So as much as my shoulders move forward, my hips have to move back. Now, not only does that happen in the setup, but it has to happen throughout the swing. And the reason I say that is that we talk a lot about getting out of the way of your arms, feeling like your hips are moving away from the golf ball. And the very first thing that when I have a student live here and we're working with them, they get very off balance. And the reason is there's nothing to counterbalance that motion. So what I mean is that when your hips are working away from the ball, there's going to be a little tilt or bend, if you will. I almost feel like my ribs go up, and I feel like I get over the ball almost a little bit. If my hips are going back this way, everything can't be going back with it, or I'm going to go offline. I'm going to go off the golf ball. I'm going to become very unbalanced. So what I mean by that is if I set up to the ball here, again, and I swing back, if I'm just pushing my hips out of the way, see, I'm coming off the golf ball, but everything is moving with that. If my hips are going to go back, there's going to be, a little bit of bending that's happening in my upper body to counterbalance that motion. Sometimes the more we try to get away from the golf ball, the more out of balance we feel, and we're just trying to feel like your arms are basically throwing the club at the ball. Well, that's certainly not what we'd want to happen, and it's definitely doesn't feel very powerful, because your feet basically feel like you're way in your heels, your toes are coming up, and that you have no stability in the ground. So maybe at first that's a good feeling, but moving forward, we've got to be very planted in the ground. So when you swing, if I were to get ready to go here, hip sockets back, shoulders over. So again, as I swing, again, my hips are moving back, and then as I swing back, as my hips move back, I feel like I'm forward a little bit, and I get into this nice position at impact. So what impact should look like is that when I set up to the ball and my left hip socket moves back, you can see there's a little bend this way. I feel like I'm almost going out or down a little bit. There's some bending to counterbalance that. If I just got here and just went back this way, my whole body would fall back and I would be off balance. So we're going to make some swings and feel as I go back. You can see how I have, there's a little bend there because I've got to stay in my posture. I've got to be able to get to the golf ball here. So back. Now let's hit a little one. So again, as you swing back and back, you can see I've got a little bend there. So you're going to feel like you're almost side arming it when you hit the golf ball. Let's do one more. So again, as my right hip goes back and then my left hip goes back to meet my right, I feel like I'm much more over. I feel like my right arm is almost side on the shaft. I don't feel like everything's back there. I definitely feel like my hips are back there. But again, my body is counterbalancing that motion, or I'll be off balance. So again, as our right hip goes back, left hip goes to meet it, I feel like I'm counterbalancing that motion. So I stay in my spine angle or stay in my tilt. There's a lot of different names that we call it throughout the industry, but when it comes down to it, you need to have those body parts or motions, hips and shoulders, they have to counterbalance each other throughout the swing. We can't have them in the same place at the same time. We're going to be way off balance. So I know this is going to help you clear some room for your arms and stay on balance, it's going to make the game a lot easier. You're going to have a lot more success and have a lot more room if you counterbalance those parts, so your hips can get away. You have a little side bend. It'll really help your impact position. Try this out, and I know you're going to be lowering your scores and hitting it much better. Like and subscribe to my channel, Billy Fitzgerald Golf. Want to take a live lesson from me, or you have a question? Visit me at BillyFitzgeraldGolf.com. And thanks for watching.